and sometimes it's not noticed. So not a rip, there's a hole. It's a hole in the fabric of the U.S. and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be mended, and then we can go forward, right? So it is there. It is noticeable, very noticeable, and it needs to be handled. And since 68, like I said, with the Olympics, that black power salute, they did put on a black glove. So I guess maybe that's what Colin Kaepernick should have done. He should have put on a black glove and held up his fist instead of putting his hand over his heart or kneeling, right? So really, what's the difference? It's just two people that are showing their disfavor with the U.S. national anthem as it's sang, right? So, think about that. And so that whole issue with the Black Power salute comes after the great movie. There are many great movies that I've gone over, but the great movie Detroit that just hit the theaters. And so Detroit is about the Algiers Motel incident, and that happened in 1967. And if you've never seen it, it was like a racially charged riot that happened in Detroit in 1967. And what happens is, during, right after those riots, there were some black kids, 3 black teenagers, as well as some other black people that were at the Algiers Motel, in Detroit. But everybody's black, but they were tortured and killed by the police. Now that's 1967. In 1968 is when the Olympics Black Power salute happens, because they're saying, you know what? Stop it. Stop with this facade. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. We are not as free as you think, as the song says. We are not part of that free. And when it says home of the brave, well, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to raise my fist. I'm going to, live my life. I'm going to do what I need to do because I value me, and you're going to value me too. And so that is the whole the Algiers Motel incident. They are in this Algiers Motel and they are tortured and killed. They are badly beaten and some killed. There was 3 people that were killed, and the other black people that are in the hotel at the time, they are badly beaten and certainly humiliated by members of the riot task force, which had some people on it from the Detroit Police Department, the Michigan State Police, and the Michigan Army National Guard. And there's a private security guard, which they come to later say, okay, you were part of that whole incident. Like, how is that? Because he was black? Really? Oh my goodness. And so of the people that died in Detroit during this Algiers Motel incident, one death was never explained. And this was a body that was found by the, some responding officers that were there. And then 2 of the deaths, they were called justifiable homicides or self-defense. Now, after watching the movie, after looking into this situation, that is some real not together explanations as to what the deaths were attributed to. They were unarmed black men that were killed, right? But they put some names on a justifiable homicide, self-defense, because they try to say that the people were engaged in some sort of attacking the police, right? Like 7, 9 people can go after a whole task force. Like, that only is in the movies, right? That's only in the movies where that makes sense and that does happen. But it just never, ever goes down like that, right? But they definitely, they brought charges against these officers and these government actors. But all of them were found not guilty. All of them were found not guilty. So in 68, when you have these Olympians stand up and they're like, look, there's something wrong. There's something totally wrong. And they that is the whole, you gotta see it. Of course, it's nothing new. It certainly is not. Don't go there thinking you're going to see something new. This is what most people already know. Most people already know that government actors, the bad government actors, because there are some good ones, I will say that, but the bad government actors, they will torture, kill, and beat. They will beat you just based on your skin, like nothing else. Like, that's just it. That's just it. They will torture, beat, and kill you. And so, while this happened in slavery, and then it happened shortly after that, and it had certainly happened in 1967, and still happening in 2017, there's something wrong. And that's all Colin is saying. That's all he's saying. Like, why are we still addressing the same issue? Like, we should move on to another issue, like possibly healthcare. Like, that is a new issue that certainly should be addressed. Same-sex communities. That is an issue that needs to be addressed. Those are all things that we need to discuss. We shouldn't be discussing something that this country was built on. I mean, is that what makes it something that not a topic of discussion? Because the country was built on that, so it's going to fall, let the cookies crumble where they may. I mean, it certainly can't be that at all. But definitely, if you get the opportunity, go see Detroit about that Algiers Motel incident. There's lots of different recounts of that whole, what happened. But the bottom line is, people were killed, people were tortured, people were beaten, people were, just mistreated by government actors based on the color of their skin. Because, of course, there's riots going on because there's some injustices going on in Detroit at the time. People are mad. They're anxious. It's the 60s. That's the civil rights era. And, people were definitely just taken aback by, how is it? In the movie, somebody comes back from the war, the Vietnam War. There's a black man that comes back from the Vietnam War, and he's one of the people that they have that was tortured, killed, and beaten by the National Guard. He's an army man. He's beaten by the National Guard in addition to the police and everybody else. But he just fought for your country. He just fought for your freedom in another country. And he gets beaten. Wow. So that is something, if you get the opportunity to go see. I don't have any songs to play from that. But I will definitely play the, a trailer so you can get an idea of the whole Detroit movie. So here's Detroit, the official trailer for the movie.
I assume this is about what went on at the motel.
What happened at the motel?
You don't know, I tell you. I was working security by Wisconsin, and on Tuesday night, we heard gunfire coming from the area near the Algiers. Police was there. There was a lot of shooting. When I went in there, 3 kids had been killed.
No. So they were killed right before you got there.
Sir.
You carry a .38, right?
A revolver. You carry a revolver.
I do have a .38.
You ever shoot anyone?
I didn't do it. Police.
Oh, here we go.
Here in Detroit, a city of war, violence continues.
We've made state police and National Guardsmen available.
I'm declaring a public state of emergency.
It's a war zone out there.
They're destroying the city.
Police! I'm just gonna assume you're all criminals.
You don't talk about this to anyone ever. You understand?
This city has problems, but change is coming.
I told you what I saw. I'm trying to help here.
Change is coming.
They're kids. What's the matter with you?
Change is coming.
They're gonna kill us, man.
Change is coming.
I need you to survive the night. Survive the night.
Melvin, you want to go home?
Yeah.
What happened at the motel?
I went down there to tell my side of the story, and then to get everything turned around and get charged with first-degree murder. It hurt.
So that was the Detroit, for the movie Detroit, the trailer for that. So you hear, it's very exciting. It's very informative. I know I didn't know anything about the Algiers Motel, that incident. And so I will say it was very, I loved consuming that information about the Algiers Motel because it did lead me to do further research about the Algiers Motel and just about that whole thing. And that brings the whole, the Olympians that come out, and then the whole thing rolls into, Colin Kaepernick isn't wrong. To me, I stand with Colin. And I know there's several events in Baltimore called, I Stand with Colin Kaepernick, to show your support of him and what he did, because that took a lot. And apparently that one little kneel has killed his NFL career. The NFL killed him because he knelt. Like, that pretty much is what it's all about. Like, that is what he does. That is what he did. They know that very well. But because he knelt during the national anthem, because he saw issues that needed to be addressed that were not reflected in this national anthem that you want him to sing, and now they kill his NFL, something he worked for. He worked for, trained for, worked out for, So anyway, everybody, I thank you all for listening as always. Again, please listen to past podcasts. I stand with Colin Kaepernick. That's where it is, Soul Circle family. That's where it is. I know you all hear me as you putting on your shoes and you putting the chairs back and everything. I know you hear me in terms of, I stand with Colin Kaepernick. And, for anybody that can bring justice, bring justice for us all, be that racial justice, gender justice, gender equality justice, because again, we're talking about that's unpatriotic for him to kneel, yet the president of the United States said you can grab any woman's pussy as long as you got money to do that. So I'm gonna leave that right there. I'm gonna let you marinate on that. Soul Circle. So again, thank you so much for, spending your time with me. But, I'm going to play a little bit of Mahalia Jackson, We Shall Overcome. And that's not just for black people, people of color. That's for everybody. The U.S. will overcome, but we need to put a cap in it. We need to talk about it, put it to bed, dead that. We need to dead that. Because we will never progress further if that is still an issue. And we don't recognize that is an issue. Let's stop hiding from the truth. Let's stop hiding from the truth. And this whole situation with Colin Kaepernick shows us that, it is something that's still eating people. No matter how many black presidents we have, we've only had one. No matter how many black, engineers we have, all of that is still an issue that needs to be deaded. We need to deal with it. We need to talk about it. But anyway, so here is Mahalia Jackson, We Shall Overcome. And then we'll leave out with Jill Scott, Living My Life Like It's Golden.
We shall overcome.
Yeah, Lord, Lord.
We shall overcome.
Once we did, we shall overcome. One day, we shall overcome. Monday.